All right, we have the quorum, so let us call to order. David, you want to call roll?
Alderman Boyd.
Present.
Commissioner Bradley. Present. Commissioner Brown.
Present.
Commissioner Peoples.
Present.
Commissioner Rowe.
Present.
Did I say acting Commissioner Rowe?
Present.
Commissioner Boaz.
Present.
And Commissioner Strouser.
Present.
And do we need a motion for a chair of the day since the chairman is not
Let's do
present?
those two things. I'm Louis Reed, delegate today. Designee, that's the right word. And yes, the regular chairman is out, so I will nominate that Earl Strahler will be the chairman of the day. Second.
Well, then acting and second.
Oh, there is no chair, I guess. So, furthering that motion, we'll read a roll call vote. Alderman Boyd.
Aye.
Commissioner Bradley.
Aye.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Peoples.
Aye.
Commissioner Rowe.
Aye.
Commissioner Boaz.
Aye.
Commissioner Strouser.
I'm saying.
And you are now the chair, and you can take the meeting.
And you find that we approve the minutes on the
Yeah.
agenda.
So with that, we,
Do you want to move to have the minutes approved?
move to have the minutes approved at this point.
Second.
They've been moved and seconded.
You can do previous roll if you like.
Can we?
Oh, no, except you abstained, so.
We can still call, I can still call for previous roll.
Do roll call.
Roll call, okay.
Alderman Boyd.
Aye.
Commissioner Bradley. Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Peoples.
Aye.
Commissioner Rowe.
Aye.
Commissioner Boaz.
Aye.
Commissioner Strouser, Chair Strouser. And the motion passes with all present voting yes.
Okay. With that, then, there is a need for executive session, and that is for the commission only. At the time, if it's approved, we will need to have everybody outside staff excuse themselves for a moment. Is that emotional?
Well, and then for the record and for the sunshine law purpose, the purpose is to discuss pending litigation that does involve this governmental body.
I make a motion that we go into a closed session, executive session.
There's a move and seconded. Call for previous roll.
I think we need to do roll calls on these, so yeah, sorry. Alderman Boyd.
Aye.
Commissioner Bradley. Commissioner Brown. Commissioner Peoples.
Aye.
Commissioner Rowe.
Aye.
Commissioner Boaz.
Aye.
Commissioner Strouser, Chair Strouser. And the motion passes with all present voting yes. We're now in closed session, so if all those who are non-staff or commissioners would leave, we will let you know when it reopens.
We do appreciate your understanding and patience in that moment of business. At this time, there are no zoning actions, so the next one we call for is PDA 02317. Roman will present that at this point, and we'll move from there.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission.
Good evening.
First off, I wanted to apologize for the delay in distributing that Planning Commission resolution that should have copies in front of you. We had some communication problems with SLDC in terms of the geography of this redevelopment area that caused some delays. So I'll try to go a little more thorough on my presentation, and please feel free to ask any questions since you haven't had the opportunity to review this in advance. So this is a Chapter 99 lighting study and redevelopment plan for the Finney Avenue and Cook Avenue scattered sites redevelopment area. The site is a little over 3 acres in size. It consists of 33 scattered parcels, all of which are located in these 4 clusters here that you can see on a single city block, a particularly long city block. It's bounded by West Cook Avenue, Whittier Street, West Finney Avenue, and Pendleton Avenue in the Van Vetter neighborhood. 32 of those 33 parcels are vacant lots. The only other parcel that I'm pointing to now is a vacant two-family building that's very poor condition. Most of those parcels, the great majority of those parcels are owned by LRA. And what's being proposed as part of this redevelopment plan is construction of 25 single-family homes as part of a larger 40-unit development called Finney Place Development. So the 25 homes would be built on these 4 clusters of parcels. The remaining 15 units would be built immediately to the south. And it's not included in this redevelopment plan because it's located in an established redevelopment area. The developer is Finney Place Developer LLC, and its manager, Yafet El-Amin, is here tonight, and he'll be available for questions after the presentation. This is an aerial photograph of the area. The site again is shown here in these 4 clusters of parcels. Not many people have heard of Finney or Cook Avenue. It's located in a fairly an area with some major streets, including Dr. Martin Luther King Drive, Delmore Boulevard, Taylor Avenue, and Sarah Street. As you can see, there's a fair amount of vacant land in that area currently, and some buildings in relatively poor shape. On the other hand, there's a fair amount of new construction, residential construction that's going on, and a lot of that. These homes that you can see here with the white roofs, that's the North Sarah Apartments complex that Baron Salazar has been developing over the last few years. The aerial photograph is from 2015, so there's a fair amount of new buildings that aren't represented there. So it's a development that is developing quickly, and phase 3 is under construction. Other landmarks in the area include the Rankin Technical College campus, which is in this general area, and Stevens School, which is immediately south of the redevelopment area. These are some photos of the redevelopment site. These are 2 of those clusters of vacant lots that are located on West Cook Avenue. And these are the 2 clusters of vacant lots that are located on Finney Avenue. The only building that's in the redevelopment area is this building here, and due to some problems with addresses and the geography, wasn't able to take a photograph, or I didn't realize that that was in the redevelopment area at that time. But the building is in pretty poor shape. It's been condemned for demolition for a number of years, and has, according to building division records, has been vacant since 2009. In terms of adjacent uses, on the other side of Cook Avenue are 3 residential buildings. I should point out one of the quirks of this area, and that is the wide east-west streets. This is West Cook Avenue, and unfortunately we don't have any parked cars, but you could actually have 6 lanes of traffic here, 2 parking lanes and 4 driving lanes easily on residential streets. A little strange. Interspersed within these vacant lots, you'll see some residential buildings. These 2 are in fairly good condition and are connected in the back. A little west of the redevelopment area are some buildings that Rankin Technical College uses for its buildings and grounds department. Along West Finney is a small church complex, Greater St. Matthew's Missionary Baptist Church, and further to the east along West Finney are 2 well-maintained homes. I think there was an effort made by the developer to try to maintain those buildings that are salvageable and build around what was there. I mentioned earlier the North Sarah Apartments complex, and this is immediately east of the redevelopment area. Along Finney, you can see a number of homes that are being constructed, and then along Whittier Street, these appear to be mixed-use buildings, also under construction. And the same development along Stephen Banks Avenue, the extent of new construction that's occurring. And then just south of the area is Stevens School, which has a new name. It's affiliated with Amherst Public Schools, and I guess it serves as an anchor for both this development project as well as North Sarah Apartments. This is a site plan that was submitted by the developer, and it includes the entire 40-unit development. That development has a development cost of about $9 million or so. So the redevelopment area is north of this line here along the other 15 units are located to the south. And the white buildings, I believe, are the 3-bedroom units, and the blue buildings are the 4-bedroom units. And you can see the school in immediate proximity to the site. These are some floor plans and an elevation for the 3-bedroom units, again supplied by the redeveloper. I should point out that one of the funding sources here is the low-income housing tax credit project. So all of these homes will be leased to tenants for 15 years. At that point in time, they'll have the opportunity to buy those units if they're interested in taking ownership. And in talking with Ms. Elamine, I gather that the rents paid during those 15 years will be applied to the purchase price of the property. The city strategic land use plan designates most of the redevelopment area as a neighborhood development area. That's the area shown in the orange color. That basically calls out for large-scale residential development, and that certainly meets that definition. The northern portion of the redevelopment area is included in a neighborhood preservation, which calls out for more infill and less mass scale of construction. So we definitely feel that the redevelopment project is in conformity with the city strategic land use plan. There is no eminent domain. As I mentioned, most of these properties are owned by LRA. They will all be purchased from the property owners without the use of eminent domain. 15 years of tax abatement is being proposed, and that's in line with the low-income housing tax credit program. We've had some of those projects before, and they need those 15 years to line up with that 15-year leasing period. And staff is recommending approval of this particular lighting study and redevelopment plan. I don't want to leave us here tonight. If you have any questions or
Okay, we've heard Roman's presentation, Bishop.
Thank you, Chairman Strouder. As indicated, my name is Jasmine Elamine, and I am a member of the Finney Place Development Project. You did such a great job, Roman, in explaining the project. We are very excited about this project that has received approval from Missouri Housing Development Commission for tax credits for these 40 homes. I would like to point out a couple of very exciting things about the project. As you will see on the screen, the yellow home, which is somewhat in the center, and behind it says playground space, is what we are considering a neighborhood home. This project, as I indicated, was approved by MACC, but it was also approved as a services enriched project. So this project has very strong partnerships with Rankin Technical College. As it was indicated earlier, Rankin sits about a block and a half west of us, and just announced and was in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch last week that they will be building a manufacturing incubator right to the left of us or the west of us on Pendleton. So in essence, all of the vacant space from Sarah to Pendleton will now be abolished with this particular project. The one home that is still standing, that is the 2.5-story that has been a vacant and derelict parcel, is based upon our communication with Alderman Kennedy, and his communication with LRA is coming down very soon, and we intend to utilize that space and now closing in that whole area now with stable housing. These homes also are larger than the typical LIHTC house, 3 and 4 bedrooms. Part of that was just growing up as a young girl in North St. Louis. I share bedrooms with my sisters. So part of this project was set up to deal with growing families and trying to ensure that as families grow in our communities, that they have ample space to grow and enjoy their homes. So we have created 3 bedrooms and 4 bedrooms. The neighborhood house, of course, will provide services in partnership with Electro Credit and Savings Union, which will be financial education and empowerment services to our residents. We also have an MOU with Rankin that will provide for full scholarships throughout the life of this project for any of the residents who are living there, as of course our desire to try to strengthen the economic status of low-income families. We understand that oftentimes without education you stay in the lower rung of the economics. We will also have a partnership there through SLATE in which we will have a economic and empowerment as far as the jobs board there. And the layout of that particular house is extended for the whole lower area to serve as community space with an extended deck. We do have a services and rich coordinator that will work with our management that will be on site in that house to also provide for those services. We also have a partnership with the Urban League Federation of Block Units in which in modeling after fire development that I am a part of, we have established block units there, and we'll be doing the same thing with this block unit and association to further stabilize the neighborhood and the residents who are coming into the development. In closing, as was indicated, that these homes after the compliance period will be made available for purchase for the residents in year 13 based upon our home ownership plan. We will begin to have meetings and trainings with the existing residents to now connect them with the home ownership options and helping them to secure the financing, and of course then the training and exposure that will now come into place as taking care of your own home versus having a management entity do that for you. So we are excited about abating some of the vacancy in the neighborhood and the community and filling it in. Of course, it is to the west of North Sarah, which of course is a multi-residential development, mixed use with some affordable and some market rate, and we believe that these single-family homes will go a long way to balance out that community and further stabilize the in the neighborhood. So at this time, I will entertain any questions.
Any questions? Just one, I guess, just two for me. Are all of them two-story? Did I see the floor plan there?
Yes.
So any ADA, are they all ADA?
Excuse me, yes. Right there you see the 5-bedroom accessible flat, as well as, I think we have 4 ADA units. So the 2 on the market point. So,
We have a pointer here.
okay, all right. So, thank you. Okay. So right here, they will be able to, that's on level with the development, and then the outer units here, here, and here are identified as the ADA accessible units. Part of the ADA is the requirement for, at least on the first floor, this one right here is a 1-story, but these other ones, all of the first floor, they will be able to roll into, and we are utilizing the universal design concept. So you would look at lower cabinets, wider spaces instead of knobs. You have the type of handles where people who have some mobility issue will be able to access it there. So, and then all of these homes, of course, are being built on the Enterprise Green Standard, which was also a part of our application that we went into MACC with.
How has this project evolved over your development period?
Thank you, Don, for that question. And I believe part of it, if you recall, when we started back in 2015, we did not have 40 single-family homes. As a matter of fact, some of those were proposed as single duplexes and triplexes. And to be quite honest, Don kind of came to us and said, hey, you know, let's do something that really picks up this community and is worth, is worth supporting and pushing forward. If you notice within the floor plans, we have incorporated an open model type of floor plan, which you are seeing in some of the homes throughout St. Louis County as growing families are growing. You know, what we're seeing now is for you to come into the homes and the mom to be able to be in the kitchen cooking, but also keeping an eye on children that might be in the family room area doing homework. So we've taken what we consider to be a model use in with local market rate developments, and we have included that in the development. I will say that we fought very hard to try to keep the size of the units as big as possible, because MHCC, quite honestly, does not have a very strong track record in building larger homes. And so we fought very hard to keep 3- and 4-bedroom units and keeping it in a way that we can accommodate our families and our communities. So we hope that based upon the model on the outside, it will stand in support of the community, but also add a nice upgrade to the surrounding community with these homes. So there's nothing about these homes that in any way would resemble affordable, except for the rent of the people who live there, which will be $695 for a 3-bedroom and $795 for a 4-bedroom. 50 and 60% of AMI.
So I'll take that one more step.
Okay.
Remind us and tell us where the layer there is in terms of what you have access to the south, and Roman did some bounding of what the major streets are.
Sure. So, as you know, to the south of us, we are very close to amenities such as IKEA. You are less than a mile away from the development that occurred there with the new expansion of the IKEA. We also are about a half a mile away from what we consider to be a major grocery store, which is a Snooks, major thoroughfare Vanderbilt. So let me see. So if we went...
That's Sarah.
That's Sarah. Okay. So we went over one more block east of Sarah, which would be Vanderbilt. This is all of the North Sarah development here. Here is Delmar right here. So we are very close to what our community knows as the Delmar Divide, and the importance of being able to provide good and affordable housing throughout this area. Very close to St. Louis University, of course, which is off of Forest Park Parkway. And of course, I mentioned to the west of us, which was right here, which would be Rankin Technical College. And I met very recently with Rankin's president, Stan Shine. So in addition to the manufacturing incubator, they will also come on the other side of the street, and they're doing infill housing, the same design said, yeah, and hey, I hope you don't mind that if I take your design here, because we want to build some houses right alongside of you guys that complements what you all are doing. So we're very excited that we've used this project to be the emphasis for more development, and that's really what it's all about, being able to connect in the area of the community to put the resources, public and private resources into it to help see the community come up. So, Don, I'm not exactly sure if that's where you're going with that. Okay. All right, very good.
So you can't
these are not for sale.
Not yet.
You don't buy them upfront, you rent them
Exactly.
and you go building to ownership.
And based upon the low-income housing tax credit program, in order to secure the credit, Missouri Housing Development Commission will require for the developer to keep them as affordable rentals for the 15 years. Typically, you will see developers continue to rent them afterwards. It is our desire to strengthen homeownership of the residents there, thus being able to offset the cost of their rent toward the equity of the home. So if you've been there 10 years and you've paid $30,000 over the 10 years and that home now has a value of $150,000 instead of paying $150,000 for it, you would use that rent towards your equity and be qualified for $130,000 for a home that's valued at $150,000. So we would appreciate and ask for the support of the commission. I would also say that we're coming at this date because it was our understanding that all of the area was already tax abated until we found out that only one side of Finney was abated, and CD Banks has the abatement, but the Cook side does not have the abatement, and the north side of Finney, in which we've had to come back to the commission to ask for the additional part of the development to fall into the abatement, which of course is needed for our underwriting process of the financing.
Further questions?
Sure. I have a lot of questions.
And of course, Alderman Rose.
Well, I don't have a lot, but I do. First of all, it's a nice project. It really compliments the North Sarah from what they're doing with all the apartments and going back to single family, because certainly being able to place single family home back in our neighborhood strengthens it a lot better than putting a lot of multifamily, just oversaturation of those. So my question is about the designs. I heard you say that it's larger than typical?
Right, because you will find...
Less than 1,200 square feet.
So larger than typical MHBC funded projects. So for example, I think you're doing a Nathaniel Rivers in your area. So you will find that our homes, and most of those are 2 bedrooms. Ours have no 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and 4 bedrooms. But you will find typically with MHBC, their homes to be 2-bedroom homes.
Okay.
So when I say larger, I mean being able to add additional rooms for growing families.
Gotcha.
Not necessarily per square footage. We actually had it larger. We had it larger than that, but they had us scaled down some on the square footage. So we're close to 1,200 and 1,400, I think, for the 4-bedroom.
Yeah. MSDC is good to work with, but they don't get it. Because actually these 3 bedrooms are actually pretty small for a 3-bedroom. Because I'm looking at 86 square feet for 1 bedroom, 99 square feet for another bedroom, and a master bedroom, 135 square feet. Less than 100 square feet is pretty tiny for a bedroom. You're not going to get much in there. And I'm not just being hypocritical.
Sure.
It's just that I would hope that our state legislature understands that they cannot just keep forcing us to put 6 pounds in a 5-pound bag, because that's what I personally feel like they're forcing us to do in our communities, because that's really a square space for a 2-bedroom. But it's, you know, it's worked out for a 3-bedroom, which if you're a low-income person, you're happy about it, you know. But I think low-income families deserve, you know, more than the bare minimum space as far as living space.
I agree. So we had to reduce it by 25 square feet per home in order to satisfy MHDC this year. So I'm 100% in agreement. Right now, though, we have a governor that hasn't even released the 4% credit. So we are wondering if next year we will even have state tax credits based upon where the state is seemingly going with the program.
Yeah, everybody's lucky if they got it this year, for sure. Again, so the other question is there a basement in any of these?
No basements. They are all slab on grade.
Okay, and that's another MHDC kind of requirement thing Because of the accessibility, they want you to just roll right in, or what?
Because of, in essence, the cap on what they want to spend
Okay.
with total development costs per unit.
Which-
Even though it is unstated, but it is heavily known that going over $200,000 and upward is going to be a challenge in getting that through MHDC. We did, however, and do have in the development on the back carports that will go along with each development that are on the larger, you saw them in the white kind of structures along the back of each of these units on the overall plan. We are also working along with MHDC to deal with the water runoff, so of course, pavement will be there as well as some green space in which we're doing to try to complement and ensure that area has a great way to retain its water.
I was going to get excited. I gave you some bonus points for a garage, but you say a carport. Okay. So looking at the overall site plan, are there garages currently? And some
There's nothing there now.
Absolutely nothing. So why are some blue and some white?
The blue are the 4-bedroom units.
Okay, gotcha.
And the white are the 3-bedroom, so the gray blocks along the back. And know that it was my desire, and I fought very hard to try to get full garages. But again, the overall development costs would not allow for us to do that. We are hopeful that through MSD's grant program that we can get some of the funds back as we're creating the retention basins and that to be able to use to put back into the project for more amenities.
Okay, so that's going up. And on the 15-year tax abatement, that's 100% the whole stretch. Is that right? Or is it 50% after 10 years?
No,
Half?
the law only allows for 100% for the first 10 years.
Okay. So,
Well, yeah,
okay.
and then it cuts down. I believe that's the intent.
The community house, which I think is a real creative opportunity. So, is it a house?
Yes, so it is a house that in essence you could look at it like a 2-family flat.
Okay.
If you would. So the whole lower area, and I apologize, we could have had a copy of it in the layout, but the whole lower area has what could be an enlarged living room, dining room, but it will serve as open community space.
Okay.
It does also have an enlarged kitchen with the thoughts that we would do nutritional demonstrations and help to deal with the healthy eating that you see or that you don't see among many low-income families. So after the compliance period, it could convert to a for-sale house. It has a 1-bedroom, full unit up top, so bathroom, kitchen, bedroom up top, and then the lower area will convert. There is a management office up front that was converting to a bedroom as well as on the back end.
So the upstairs will be an office, used as an office, but
right now the lower area will have an office space.
what's the upstairs going to be used for?
For a tenant.
It will be used for a tenant. Okay. Okay.
A 1-bedroom rental until the home is sold, but we would, of course, do some construction adjustments to it prior to selling it at the 15-year. But it could go, and after that it could be used as a 2-family flat, so someone could live in the lower area and rent out the top.
So universal design, and sometimes I get confused. So there's universal design where you talked about the cabinets will be lower and everything, so like if you're in a wheelchair, for example, you have that accessibility, right?
Right.
But then there's I always envision universal design with a bedroom on the first floor in case someone is in a wheelchair. So do you have...
That's right. So there are, on the 4-bedroom units, there is a bedroom that goes to the back of the home.
Okay.
So on these units toward the back end, that's where the bedroom is.
So only on the 4-bedroom, they're,
Right, the 3 bedrooms, they're all on the on the second floor.
okay.
The ADA accessible units have a bedroom on the lower because he's only required to have a bedroom on the first.
And those are the flats you talked about.
That's this one here, and then the ones on the outer level, the way that they're designed, you'll be able to kind of drive up to it or roll up to it off of the street here.
Okay, I'm almost done. Rent, you talk about equity. So 100% of the rents paid will be their equity. Your example was if they paid $30,000 in rents for 15 years, when it's time to purchase, they would use that $30,000.
You would use that.
You will use.
Yes.
So 100% of the rent will be, and
You say, so
Right,
if you only
I got
live
you.
in there 5 years,
right, it's over with.
yes,
So the next person comes in and gets that opportunity. So the next person comes in year 12.
yes,
They just have to meet the affordability standard.
they all have to.
They will pay the market rate for whatever the.
No, I'm sorry, but it stays affordable in rental for the whole 15 years.
Okay. But
After-
what happens to equity? So they get 2 years of equity.
That's
You
right.
came in year 13, you're only going to get 2 years of equity.
That's correct.
Got it. Okay, so you're the queen of minority participation.
Thank
So
you.
what percentage of this project is minority?
Well, of course, it is just out for bid. So the city requires 25, our project goes to 40.
Wrong answer. You the queen
Yes.
of minority participation, so I expect 75%.
Okay, well, we'll shoot for it. We'll shoot for
I'm
100.
going to track you.
We're shooting for 100.
Last question. Raffy, by the way, used to be my state rep, by the way. So she knows how I am. I keep her on her P's and Q's.
And let me add to this, though, before you move off of that. Also workforce. There is nothing in here requiring for us to do workforce goals, but we are also aggressively moving toward ensuring diversity within our workforce as well.
So
So
what are those goals?
40,
40, okay. So 40 for workforce, 40 for minority participation.
yes.
And that women included, the 40% includes women.
No, 10% women.
So 40 and 10. Got it. Last question. From a design point of view,
Yes.
I'm looking at this, I forget what they call it, this oval window. What do they call
It's
it?
not going to be, I'm sorry.
But
It's going to be square.
it's this picture window, right?
Yeah.
So how many other homes in that geography have a picture window like that?
Well, let me be clear, I'm sorry. That's no longer oval. It's,
Right.
yeah.
No, it'd be a square.
Square.
No, I got that, but how many other homes in that community is designed that way?
Well, I'm not exactly sure as far as that window, but because of the open floor plan that we have, the staircase is moved over, so right here is where your staircase is going up.
Yes.
So we thought that it would be very attractive, and you see some of that in the 26th ward for people as you go up the stairs to have a view out. But I'm not exactly sure of the other homes, if they have a window here. I will tell you that this model, as far as the 2-story, we came with this model because the homes on that block are all 2-story. There is about 3 or 4 different versions of this. So right here you see some of the design by the roof. You'll see that in South St. Louis. And so we tried to put some of the details to the architecture to enriching the homes some and make them actually more attractive somewhat than this.
So you nailed it on that. But I was more curious with what I'm sensitive to, and of course I'm an alderman, and developers come and we do these plans, and we want the homes that are coming in to fit the architectural landscape of the community currently. And then you have a developer that comes in.
Right?
Right. Okay.
So this is finished.
Right. And so this is me, man. I'm not trying to be overly critical, but I'm very sensitive to design, and I'm not an architect by no stretch of imagination. But instead of that window being in the center, which it looks like it's in the center, I'm just looking at the oval on your, why wouldn't it be up near the top? And it would match that, right, what we're looking at.
Why wouldn't you put the mirror?
Why wouldn't you put the window higher?
Here.
Yeah, why wouldn't you put it there?
I'm pretty sure that's a bedroom window.
Doesn't matter, because you're saying that there's a hallway.
Yes.
It's the stairwell, so it doesn't matter. We don't know what's behind there. It could be a kitchen. But looking at it from the outside, there's a window on the left side, kind of small, and then you have this new house coming in, and its window is, 3 feet lower.
So we want to add some variety to the neighborhood. You're not trying to make them all cookie cutter and look the same.
No, you don't. But when you look at neighborhoods that have design standards, I mean, like in Lafayette, I hate to use an example because they're the toughest neighborhood out there. They would have never said, okay, you could come in with a new design because you just want something new. That was just my comment,
So let's take that and you see what's here, right? Can you go to the slide where what we're building? I think we're very similar to what's there.
But the window is about 3 feet lower.
Minus the window, I gave you that.
I'm just looking at the window from an architectural landscape of the street. So.
And I would say for us to get this close and make it pop, then I'm gonna give myself a check on that.
I mean,
That close.
I'm going to give you a C+. Because I know you're dealing with MHDC, and they're very...
That had nothing to do with the window. Actually, I chose that window to go there. I thought it'd be cool. I'm going up the steps.
Well, then you got a C+ then. Okay.
And I'm able to see what's going on the street.
Be happy with your C+.
Know the neighbors. Yeah. So that had nothing to do with MHDC. That was pretty much...
It's not my neighborhood. I'm okay with it. If
When I
it was
come
my
to yours,
neighborhood,
I'll put the window up.
I'd have put the window up.
Let me come in there and I'll give you a higher window.
I'm being like Don today.
I'm afraid to ask this one question. Who's responsible for lawn care and maintenance?
The management entity, which is Folsom Management, it is a certified MHDC, a certified management entity. And again, it will have a manager on site, full-time manager on site.
So, Alderman, you met my son. He lives in a bedroom that's 9.5 feet by 9.5 feet. And other than...
Torture.
Well, you should chain them up. Come on. That's fairly normal. Other than heredity,
We can't do anything about that house that was built 100 years ago.
Well, question's been asked.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
Been a motion approved and seconded. Do we need a roll call on this?
You can,
Previous roll.
previous roll.
Previous roll. Any objection? Motion has been moved and passed with the previous roll.
Thank you.
So you mentioned your sisters growing up. Do you still get along with them now?
We got to get along much more because we're East Coast, West Coast. But to be very honest, we're the same size, 4 of us here. 2 bunk beds. Up, down, until my father built out the lower area, and I was a teenager then. So, we got along, but if I had some more elbow room, we probably got along a lot better.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Just want to be sure Commissioner Boyant is still on the phone with us.
Commissioner Boaz? Uh-oh.
That was her thing, yes, but she was disconnected, okay? Do we still have a quorum?
No.
We did for that vote. Yes,
That's right.
Yes, we did for the vote, yes. That's what I said, that's why she disconnected at that point. You calling her?
Move on.
Okay.
I moved on.
The next item on the board is a review. David, you want to go through that for us?
So, and again, noting that you don't have a quorum, so at this point you can't take any action at least present it until you regain that. Very good. So this is a Preservation Board review, and I think you've all, everyone here has seen several at this point, so I think you're familiar with the process, but just as a real brief review, When a party appeals from the Preservation Board to the Planning Commission, you have the opportunity to review the Preservation Board decision. It is a two-step process. This is the first step tonight, assuming you get your quorum back, to determine whether you wish to go forward and review the Preservation Board decision, or if you would like to allow it to just continue on, as the applicant may wish to take on to circuit court or elsewhere to appeal. The decision on whether or not to review is within your discretion. When you do review it, you have three choices upon hearing the process of presentations from the applicant for review and from the Cultural Resources staff. You can modify the decision, you can affirm the decision, or you can reverse the decision and allow the demolition to go forward. The review is limited to just the record as created below, so you don't take any new evidence. Obviously not tonight, nor at the time, if you choose to hear it, review takes place. All you do is review the record that took place before. And then if you do choose to appeal, hear the appeal, you will get presentations from Cultural Resources and from the applicant, who will review the record in front of you. I don't think there's really a whole lot more to add than that. If you have any questions,
So we've
I'll be happy to
have
help.
a two-page resolution, which are a standard resolution. The packets just had from the public record of the Preservation Board, the PowerPoint on 2205 Lynch Street, which you can see in your packet, or we could show you on the screen. And David, Tracy's code.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm back.
Great.
As soon as I asked, I hit the wrong button and cut myself off.
We were going to do the same thing to Alma Boyd, but we didn't.
I was having a Don Rowe moment, sorry.
Okay, with that, do we go through this?
So why don't you show us the slide?
As I understand it, this is the presentation that was prepared by Cultural Resources staff and shown to the Preservation Board.
Part of the presentation prepared by the staff to give a sense of what the building looks like, what the picture of the building looks like from the exterior, and what the surrounding context is like.
Can you narrate the presentation, please?
This is all interesting, but without context.
Can someone narrate the presentation?
So,
They have a few questions, I guess, is my point.
okay. Dan, we asked the last time we did this for some visual in addition to the thing. So this is the visual from without all the regulations you know about it. So, let's go back to the beginning and, so, Dan, did you give the presentation at the board?
Not that,
Okay, so with that, if you would just do a brief repeat as we go through this to help with the narration.
sure. So that's the cover.
Dan Dean, the Director of the Cultural Resources Office.
This is a picture of the front of the building. The building is set back from the street, basically located on the alley. And so it's the white building in the center of the slide there. Here you see in the dotted line is the lot in question with the building location. It's in the Benton Park Local and National Register Historic District. This is an image from the Compton Drive Historical Atlas of 1875. You can see the circle is around two buildings. One is the extant, both extant today. The building sort of is on top of. Okay. This is the building in question. I'm sorry. Right, the top one of those two, 1.5-story buildings. You can see the context in 1875. The neighborhood was kind of partially built up. It was developing at that time.
So, but then, there was two homes on that parcel, is that correct?
Well, they were individual parcels at the time. They're individual parcels now.
Okay.
So the building in question is this one here. But both these buildings, this one here and this one here, were on the Compton and Dry Atlas that was shown. And I believe the owner of the property, who's the applicant for the demolition, lives at this property here.
That's a house.
So here's some more pictures. Again, this is the front elevation facing Lynch Street, which is set at the back. This is the alley elevation. Building suffered a collapse in 2014. That you see that here. It's a stone building with stucco on the exterior. And then you can see a detail of some more deterioration here. And then this is the east facade and the rear facade on the alley.
Is anybody currently living there?
No, it's currently vacant.
Is there electric to the building? Utilities?
I'm unaware of that.
No.
So here's kind of a view from the corner. Again, this is the building in question. There's a small residential structure here that's of the same time period as the building in question, and then the owner lives in this property.
Was there some catastrophic event that led to that sidewall being damaged like that?
I don't believe there was anything like a fire or, an earthquake or anything of that sort. I think it was just building deterioration over time.
So what grounds did the Preservation Board deny the request? I guess kind of, because the appeal is our reasons for taking up an appeal, it kind of matters, right? We would be looking for some procedural error in which the Preservation Board made it.
We wouldn't necessarily be looking for a procedure.
Okay. I thought my understanding of the ordinance is
it is, so, two things. Is people have a shorthand to say that this is an appeal. It's really a provisional decision that the Preservation Board and the city can take up and do the same review again. So the review, therefore, is on the record and all the materials of the Preservation Board. It's not new stuff that enters into it. So the Preservation Board took up all the relevant, items that related to this building and about determining its level of merit, condition, all those types of things, and made a judgment to deny the demolition. So we look at the same materials that they did with a different set of eyes, of course, and listening and reading, but with the same materials.
So I think what Patrick's asking, do you guys know what their grounds for denying the demolition was? What did they say about that?
I got to apologize, I know that.
Are we allowed to discuss that evening? Or do we just make the decision to review?
You're presented with what you have before you to determine whether you wish to take it up or not.
Is it appropriate to ask follow-up questions?
Not at this stage.
Okay.
If you wanted to explore
Okay.
it through the
my general opinion is the Preservation Board is fairly thorough, and the historical, that's the place where this is put into context, conversation is had, and the viability of the building is discussed, and whether or not it is appropriate based upon the historic nature of the community to demolish the house. And typically, when we take these things up, we typically uphold the work of the Preservation Board, and so it's in the sake of the time of the applicant, it would be my opinion, take this to court, because that would be the resolution after we took it up anyway. So it would be good. So my preference to do that, not that just one.
I mean, I would agree with that as well, simply because I asked the question about catastrophic events, because sometimes things happen beyond the property owner's control, and I think that you have to weigh those things in. This, to me, appears to be that's simply been neglected. And to me, because you don't repair or maintain something, is not a reason to tear it down.
So, as I said, our decide is we're going to uphold or to review. Is there a motion on the table?
No, but that being said, Rich, my understanding through, Don's teaching is sometimes buildings can become cost prohibitive to repair. I don't know what the inside looks like. I don't know what it takes to restucco or whatever application that is to put back on the wall. So I would be reserved to just not give it a cursory look and hear, and we'll hear exactly what was said in the...
You'll get a transcript.
Okay.
What was done below and everything that was presented below, and then there'll just be an oral argument by the applicant and by Cultural Resources,
Okay.
iterating what was said below.
Okay. So that's my thought.
I'm going to take it up.
Second.
So you have the option to vote. It's been moved and seconded that we do not review it and that it just continues through the Preservation Court's process and the owner's opportunity to review. Any questions?
I'll make a comment on that, is that the Preservation Board of the city has acted. Our action tonight is saying it's acted, it stands, as opposed to stepping in. That means that they can do a number of things. They now are released that they could seek the court. They could repair the building and rehab it. They could come back after a wait period of 12 months from when they first apply again, or they could sell.
But takes it outside of our hands.
Right, so the simple action is it takes it puts it at a conclusion of the city's actions regarding this, and all the other actions.
So there's been a motion seconded, call for vote.
Alderman Boyd. Oh. Commissioner Bradley.
Aye.
Commissioner Brown.
Aye.
Commissioner Peoples.
Aye.
Commissioner Rowe.
Abstain.
Commissioner Boaz.
Aye.
Chair Strouder. And the motion passes 5 voting in favor. 1 nay and 1 abstention.
That's it. With that, the delegated items are under 182.
So yes, remember one of the things we did last time? We had our fond farewell for Emily Joy Lucas, since established herself back in Kansas City. So we're entering the summer season. We'll be a little judicious about our schedule for the summer, partly in Romans. Today, as you saw him, he put one together that we really only got the materials as late as this afternoon, anticipated part of it. So try to do that. Just as a reference, that there are 2 99 studies that are noted here that Emily has been tracking that are under 1 acre. And we have some visitors tonight. And sir, what's the property address for you?
It's 4427 showed up.
Yeah. I think just as a courtesy, partly because I went and spoke to the Forest Park Southeast neighborhood, would you just give us a highlight of what you're doing at that address?
It's the old Ecclesiastes pump station, and so we're just restoring the building and turning it into our corporate headquarters. So we love the neighborhood, we love what's going on in Cortex, and so the location is kind of the Grove neighborhood, kind of this design artsy neighborhood up against the kind of entrepreneurship of Cortex. And so we have a housewares company that we sell products nationally to Target stores and Bed Bath & Beyond on Amazon. And so we're moving our corporate headquarters in there. And it's going to be an incredible facility, and we're excited to get into it.
I'm glad you guys are doing something with that building, despite the really questionably attractive, questionably aesthetic choices of your neighbor.
Just who has surrounded
your building.
Hiding, yeah, if they could.
And the foot of water currently in the bottom of the building.
I'm excited about it. It's a beautiful building, and we're excited to be a part of what's going on in the neighborhood and in Cortex as well.
And it is under 1 acre, so it was a delegated, it's a single building that was delegated and it's previously been approved.
It's the company's called Greater Good.
All right. Mr. Chairman, no street vacations to report, although we may be doing those a little differently in the future. And no other informational items, and we appreciate that we have the opportunity to go in session.
All right. Any other informational items?
Just that we're working on what our schedule will be.
Okay. Any new business? Hearing none?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved to adjourn, second, meeting closed.